all very new to me. I actually just made my first angel investment. And I've been putting it off for a long time, It's something I've wanted to do. And for various reasons, 3 kids, London's expensive. I started saving a bit late. And, at the start of the year, I wrote a blog post with this lady called Angela, who is also an Alma angel. And she, in the interview asked me about angel investing. And I said to her, look, I'm making a promise by the end of 2021, I would have made my first investment. And I was very conscientious about savings and putting money aside so that I could start to make an impact and back a lot of these incredible founders who I get to meet on a daily basis. And I feel very privileged to meet them.
This is Female Business Angel Podcast.
Your go-to destination if you're a business angel or would like to get into angel investing and don't know where to start.
Or if you just want to find out how we tick. We're Tina and Katja, both business angels from Berlin. Well, I'm a VC now. We will interview established female business angels about how they got started and how it is going, including all the best tips and tricks.
So get ready for some insider stories and personal empowering moments and revelations with these incredible women.
Welcome to this journey with us.
We are thrilled to have June Angelides today with us. She's originally from London, raised in Lagos, Nigeria, and she moved back to the UK to attend university and finish school. She started her career at Silicon Valley Bank. She was the only founder of Moms in Tech because after becoming her first baby, she wanted to learn how to code and she realized it was a bit tricky. There was no offering for that. She's also a contributor at Financial Times. She became investor at Samos VC, and she was awarded a prestigious Order of the British Empire for services to women in technology. So I guess we can call you Dame, right?
5 years time.
It has 5 years has to have to pass. Okay, Europeans from the continent, we don't know that. So welcome, June, investor, entrepreneur, speaker, and the mother of 3 kids. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Katja. It's a pleasure to be here.
So tell us your story. It's a very fascinating story. I was struggling a bit to recap all your achievements because there were so many.
It's a long list, and I feel very fortunate to have had so many beautiful experiences along the way. So as you said, I grew up in Lagos. I was born in London, but I was raised in Nigeria until I was 17. And then I moved over to the UK for my A-levels. And then I went to UCL and did economics. And I guess my first foray into the world of technology and venture capital was when I joined Silicon Valley Bank back in 2011. And back then it was still pre-commercial banking license. It was pretty much just the venture arm that had started. And it was great to watch a bank. It was the London office, and it was a great opportunity to watch a bank being built. And the first deal I worked on was Farfetch, and it's a real privilege to see that has become a unicorn now. So, be a beautiful journey to have been a part of that.
It's such a cool company, also.
It really is. And I remember at the time, working on the financial paper and just trying to understand how it would work. And I'm so glad that, the investors got their heads around it because it was quite a novel concept at the time. But I think after working with so many brilliant founders, I myself caught the bug and wanted to see what it was like to build something. So on my second mat leave, I decided I was going to try and build an app. I'd had a terrible conveyancing process trying to buy a house, and there was just such a mismatch in the information sharing between all the different estate agents and everyone in the chain. It was a horrendous chain. I think about 5 people were moving house. It was awful. But none of us knew where we stood. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if there was an app to kind of give us visibility on the process? And in that journey of trying to hire a developer, finding out it was too expensive and thinking, oh, well, I don't know what they're talking about because all this tech jargon was really new for me. And I wanted to understand what the terminology meant. So I thought, well, I've got a year off. Well, I say off. I had two kids, and a 2-month-old at the time. But I wanted to understand what this coding business was and tried to go to a coding school. Of course, you can't bring babies to it. So I decided I would create my own. And I created the first child-friendly coding school in the UK called Mums in Tech, which I ran for 3 years. And I learned a ton along the way. I learned a ton about myself, but also I realized how broken venture capital was because I also tried to raise investment. And I know we'll get onto this soon. I didn't know much about the angel investment scene at that point. Had I known, maybe I'd still be running Mums in Tech. But I really didn't understand the sources of capital available to me. Even though I'd worked at SVB, I feel like the angel scene was very very secretive. You just didn't really know who was an angel and how to approach them, where to find them. Yeah. But I spoke to so many brilliant founders in that time who had come on the course or who I'd met through the ecosystem, and just so many brilliant people weren't getting investment. And I just thought, well, this is awful. And I wanted to see how I could contribute in some way, help change hearts. And I decided I was going to try and get a seat at the table. And that was how I got introduced to Czech Warner, who is a partner at Ada Ventures back then, was also running Diversity VC, which she founded to sort of change the VC landscape and make sure it was more representative of society. And she thankfully introduced me to Samos. And I'm really excited to say I've been at Samos for 3 years now. And it's been a fantastic experience just learning about, the world of venture capital and angel investing.
That's really great. And I really like your motivation of getting into VC for the sake of the representation, like changing how the things are. And also out of curiosity. And so at Silicon Valley Bank, you were not in touch with angels. But I mean, they existed.
I knew they existed. I guess at that point, we weren't really looking at cap tables. So the way we are now in venture capital, obviously I see the variety of angels. I get a sense of how much people are putting in, when they're putting it in. I didn't have that visibility then. I was aware of groups like Angel Academ that were supporting female founders, but I didn't really know how they worked. So I think there was still a bit of,
mystery.
Mystery. Mystery. That's the word. Mystery around it. I would say, I didn't really delve into it at that point. It was more, I was aware of the venture capital space because at Silicon Valley Bank, the companies needed to be venture-backed to be able to access venture debt.
And were you trying to raise an investment for the app you've built?
No, I was actually trying to raise investment for Mums in Tech. So Mums in Tech, in the end, took precedent, and the app fell by the wayside, very sadly. I ended up, feeling extremely passionate and, wanting to really change the landscape because, I'm sure the stats from women in tech are pretty dire. There's still just 17% of women in tech. It's not great. A lot of women and girls are not, they don't see themselves in a lot of the roles. So I think I felt a great need for, increased role model, highlighting them, but also just showing the different possibilities in the world of tech. And that was the whole premise for the course, to take people into great companies like Microsoft. The courses were taught by the engineers, the data scientists, the Scrum Masters. They helped, co-create the content, deliver the courses on a weekly basis and provide mentoring for the women across the 8 weeks. And at the end of it, the women were able to present at their graduation what they'd built. Everyone built a website, but it really was to show the various parts of working in a tech company. And it's not just about coding. There are so many brilliant roles, and each equally important, because without them, we wouldn't have the great products that we all know and love.
Yeah, and I mean, it sounds maybe a bit like weird at the first time. Like, wow, you're on maternity leave. You should not be learning how to code, like enjoy your time with the baby. But actually, in my environment, that's pretty common that, well, my podcast partner, Tina, for example, she took a course in machine learning while she was on maternity leave with her daughter.
Nice.
Yeah, just
Nice.
like a side hobby. And then another very good friend of mine called Martha, if you're listening, she we started business together, but she worked in tech and she always wanted to understand, kind of demystify tech for herself. And she wanted to learn how to build apps just to understand the principle of it, how it works. She was not aspiring to become, I guess, they're a super good developer or something. And I think she attended Bandwagon. That is,
I
think it's more like gender neutral, but of course you have to see what can you do with your baby while you are at the course. So you need a nanny, or you need like your your parents to help out, grandparents. And I think that's pretty much like, it's a good niche, because you enjoy your maternity leave, but you want to advance, you want to take time to understand something what you normally don't have time to
exactly.
understand.
And you know, it was only 3 hours of the week.
Yeah, so
and
that's
I
doable.
guess for me, it was the same way we would often go to a mummy baby singing and dancing class. I thought, you know what, this time it's about me.
Yeah,
I'm gonna prioritize myself this time.
It's about my intellectual curiosity and coding and understanding how tech works. So did the potential investors on the other side of the table, did they understand the pitch and the need?
No, and I think that was probably what frustrated me the most. And I think at that point, definitely didn't see anyone around the table that looked like me, and I think that was a big surprise. And I just kept thinking, well, where are the amazing women? I know so many brilliant women in finance, but why are they not at partner level? And why are there no Black women like me? I didn't understand that. Sifta did a great list earlier on in the year, sort of highlighting the partners, and I'm really excited to say that it's very different now, which is so promising. That the firms are sort of waking up that it's important to have representative.
Yeah, it's definitely getting better, but I still think the statistics is shocking that just 1.1% of venture capital went to female teams. But
every time I see these charts, it's depressing.
And then 8.8 went to gender diverse teams, which it makes 9.9% in total, which is like okay.
There's a lot of work to be done for sure.
So how did your journey at venture capital started? How is it going? When did angel investments become a focus, or like a focus point of like the next intellectual curiosity?
Yeah, it's such a good question. So I joined Samos 3 years ago, back in October 2018. And you know what? It's been really, it was a steep learning curve, because I wasn't an investment banker, I wasn't a consultant, and obviously a self-taught entrepreneur in that I ran Mums in Tech, but it wasn't a very traditional path into venture capital. So I had a lot to learn, but I was very, very transparent and very curious. I didn't pretend to know more than I did, but I really, I probably listened to almost every episode of 20 Minute VC, which is really, really helpful. But then I just asked a ton of questions in meetings with founders. And I think this is something that I'd say to any aspiring VC, don't be put off by not having a traditional background, because actually starting to realize that there is no correct background to branch into VC. I think everything is valuable. And the reality is, the founders often know way more about what they're building than we do, and that's okay. I think our jobs are to help them to explain it to us in sort of layman's language, and just as long as you're really curious and you want to see the world change, I think that's kind of super key. I personally enjoy working at the really early stages, So for me, it's really a bet on people. And I think, if you sort of are willing to take the time, ask good questions, and, I think with a ton of research, any of us can sort of cross that bridge. I certainly feel like that sort of helped me. I surrounded myself with a ton of really clever VCs and, got help with understanding how to do DD right, how to read the legal documents, just like what are the right questions to ask these founders, but also just not feeling intimidated, because I think imposter syndrome is probably what stops a lot of people from even trying. And I know I almost talked myself out of the job in the beginning because I was like, oh, what do I bring to the table?
Yeah. Well, you bring you. Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. And this is why I think, whether you studied history or chemistry, you can bring something to the table as an investor, because every conversation is very different. So that, whether you did biology won't necessarily help you when you're dealing with an entertainment company. So I think as long as you have the ability to communicate, you're going to be okay. And asking great questions, having a good sense of people, and just being prepared to do the work. Because that's ultimately what it is. You have to trust your instinct. You are making a bet that this idea will work, but also you're betting that this individual or teams that sitting in front of you are the best people to make this happen. And you asked about how I sort of got into angel investing. It's all very new to me. I actually just made my first angel investment. And I've been putting it off for a long time, It's something I've wanted to do, and for various reasons, 3 kids, London's expensive. I started saving a bit late, and the start of the year, I wrote a blog post with this lady called Angela, who is also an Alma angel, and she, in the interview asked me about angel investing, and I said to her, "Look, I'm making a promise by the end of 2021, I would have made my first investment." And I was very conscientious about savings and putting money aside so that I could start to make an impact and back a lot of these incredible founders who I get to meet on a daily basis. And I feel very privileged to meet them. There are many that we're not able to back through the fund. And I guess this is the very nature of venture capital. We can't back everyone that we see as much as we want to. For a variety of reasons. There's always a multitude of deals competing for the same capital. And there will always be some where I think, oh, if I had the capital, I'd do it myself. So I've been a part of Alma Angels for a couple of years, observing, learning, and the partners at Samos also make angel investments. So I've gotten the opportunity to see behind the scenes how it works, sort of the communication required, how you DD as an angel. And a friend of mine, Andy Ayim, runs Angel Investing School, which I highly recommend for anyone who is looking to start angel investing, just to give you the basics. And
oh wow, is it an online class?
It's an online class, yeah. So I really recommend that to anyone who is not sure how to get started. But
we'll have to integrate the link, like then.
Yes, I will share the link for sure.
That's great.
It's just I've just been very intentional and keeping an eye out for someone. And interestingly, it's a fintech deal. And if you'd asked me at the start of the year, I probably wouldn't have said fintech. But when I met her, and I have been looking at the space more closely recently, I just felt incredibly compelled and passionate about solving this problem. And again, it's something that will empower women across the globe. So I'm very excited.
That's great. So congrats to your first angel deal. And so are you looking for certain patterns when supporting early stage founders? Because you've learned a lot. So are you supporting the founders that are not the traditional VC case maybe, or are you searching for female founders specifically, or for founders solving like world pressing problems? I don't know. What's your take on that?
Yeah, so I'm particularly motivated by founders that are solving the problems that will reduce gender, the gender pay gap, gender inequality. That's the stuff that really sort of gets me going. So anything that will boost economic empowerment of women is something that I'd be keen to support. And I'm really, I think as an angel, you're typically coming in at the early stage. So I'm really making a bet on the individual. And I'd be looking at, previous experience, sort of just a deep knowledge on the issue and, just trying to understand, what gives them the edge. What is it about their know-how or their personality that will keep them grinding and wanting to solve this, because it's hard. And I think that's something that people don't say enough. Being a founder is very tough. There's a ton of sacrifice. It takes a ton of time to build something and make it come to life, hiring the right team. And, it's one of those things where you really do give your whole self to the business. So what is it about this person in front of me that makes them really, really special, and they really should be, given a chance to give it a go. And, I think that's the conviction you kind of need to have, because yes, there's no guarantees. They might be a unicorn. You kind of hope they will be, but I think you go into it knowing that you really, really believe that it's them, and you will do whatever it takes to help them on their journey.
Yeah, I think that's really incredible that also you put on a saving plan for this year, and it was like this year's goal to wire the first check. Like, although London is super expensive. You have 3 kids, and you are working as an investor full time at VC fund. I think it's
that's a caveat. I'll actually say I work part-time, and I think that's something you don't hear enough. So I'm there 3 days a week, which is something that was really exciting for me to see as a mom of 3. When I joined, my youngest was 8 months old, and I didn't think that there could be part-time roles in VC. So although it's 3 days, it probably looks like I work way more than that, because I love the space so much. I'm always sort of working with founders in some way. But it does allow me to do a lot of other things around the mentoring and sitting on other boards. But I guess another thing I really wanted to highlight was the amount. And I think that's something that, people assume that to put in an angel ticket, you need to have saved, 25,000, 50,000. And those were the sort of amounts I thought angels needed to have. And I just thought, my goodness, it's going to take me forever. I'll never, ever be able to make that investment. And I think I said to you earlier, and there's a group in Nigeria, actually. And, they group together.
The Pocket Bag Money Fund.
Yeah. So basically,
I have it on my list. I was going to ask.
A designer bag could cost, anything from £2,000. Why don't you save that money and invest in a founder that you really believe in? And they call it the handbag fund.
Handbag fund, yeah.
It's so brilliant. I think it's such a brilliant idea. So instead of buying another bag, put that money aside and save it up. And, there are so many brilliant founders.
And help to change the world.
Literally help to change the world.
and I guess like this first founder you backed, I guess it's a she, right? I guess
it's a she. Yes,
she's very fortunate to have you on the cap table. It doesn't matter the amount that you contributed to it. I mean, it's having a skin in the game, but I guess other female founders and founders in general, they. You're very passionate on a mission to kind of make this world more equal, and you're really passionate about tech and venture capital and startup building. You have an amazing network. So I guess the founders they are fighting to have you as an advisor or as an angel.
Well, I feel lucky that they say yes to take my little handbag money from me.
Oh, that's so cool. So what's the outlook for the future, or what are the plans? Are you planning to continue allocating some handbag money to the founders?
Oh, yes. Yes. I continue to save. I put some money aside. Just got paid today. The money has been put aside for just continue to build up that reserve. And of course, I will continue to speak to founders and the ones that I feel extremely passionate about. I will be backing. I guess, when it comes to a plan, potentially maybe 5 angel investments a year is something I'll
that's
probably do for next year.
Yeah.
And that number will continue to grow, but I really am passionate about more generational wealth for women so that we are able to make these choices. I think we all need to be like Oprah. I want to see more billionaires. There needs to be more.
Yeah, just the more equal distribution of wealth in general.
Absolutely.
And especially,
Absolutely.
Also, gender equality is very important, of course. I mean, we're totally in for the cause. And and so how, so I guess you don't have to source deals anymore. So you have a very broad network. So I assume the founders, they just come to you, or are you proactively looking for new interesting companies and entrepreneurial women starting the next thing?
Absolutely. I'm always on the hunt. I think as an investor, you never stop hunting. I think it's very much a part of the job. It's what I love. I love speaking to founders. So as much as they do come to me, I'm also very proactive when I'm reading articles, when I'm on Twitter, when I'm listening to demo days. I'm constantly on the lookout and thinking, who could be sort of someone that I'd love to work with. And I think that's really important because it is pretty much a 10-year commitment. So you have to want to work with this individual and spend time and speak about growth and really, champion them, because that's, not just your capital, it's your time.
Yeah.
And it's something you need to be willing to do.
It's your time, it's your name, it's your excitement, it's your reputation, it's everything.
Exactly.
So you have to decide whom you want to associate yourself with, and
Very true.
Dedicate your time to their success. And I mean, it has to be rewarding for you as well. And what was the most surprising or extraordinary pitch you've heard, or maybe an interesting way of approaching a founder, or a founder approaching you?
Oh, wait. Okay, actually, there was a very interesting pitch. It was something that I thought was a little bit goofy, but it was plates made out of biscuits, and I just thought, look, if I buy this product, my kids are just going to be sitting at the dinner table eating the plates, and not eating their food. It was a clever idea, sustainability.
Yeah.
But with kids like mine, they would just be eating their plates at dinner.
I think my daughter would do it too.
Yeah.
Cookie. Okay, so that was not convincing.
No, I just no.
Yeah. So you tend to go for more like a techie ideas.
Yeah, do you know what? It doesn't have to be just tech. I'm very, very open-minded. I'm also very excited about, actual physical products. But also, it doesn't have to be pure technology. We invested in a hair business.
Mm-hmm.
I really think it could be anything, but if it's something that I really believe should exist and it's helping the world in some way, that really excites me.
Yeah, I think that's a really good approach. It's like, okay, does the world need it? Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Who else is backing these people? Okay, well.
Yeah, is it bringing joy to someone? Will people pay for it? How big is that market? The usual questions, but I really love the whole thing around joy and solving a big problem.
Yeah, absolutely. The bigger, the better. And do you tend to focus on UK founders, or is it like global, European?
For angel investments, I'm happy to look anywhere.
Okay.
And for the fund, it's primarily UK.
It's UK. And there is no conflict, so you're allowed to invest along on the deals you are making for VC, or what is the?
Yeah, there's no conflict. I know with different funds there'll be different rules, but at Samos is great, which is great.
Yeah, which is really cool. And do you have an angel club? Do you have other ladies or other folks you invest with together?
No, I not officially. I'm a part of Alma Angels, but I haven't made any investments through it.
Yeah, we are having Deepali on this podcast as well. So
she's amazing. She's literally a legend. Everyone loves Deepali. She's brilliant.
Yeah, we talked a couple of days ago. So yeah, it's going to be great. So yeah, she's definitely a legend in the space. So yeah, I'm really happy to have her. And I guess one more question, like in regards to angel investing, is what are your advices you would give to aspiring angel investors?
I would say, start getting involved. I highly recommend it. Joining a group like Alma and taking a course like the Angel Investing School, because I think a lot of people don't believe, a bit like how I was at the start of my venture journey, that they can bring anything to the table. But whether you're an operator or you work in another bit of finance, you can add value, because you will bring something to the table as an angel, and especially if you're coming in super early. There's always something that you can add. But also, I'd say, start learning, because you don't know when you'll then come across a founder. You want to be ready, and I think it's never too early to start that learning process.
Thanks, that's good. Yeah, so get involved, learn first, join a group, and again start learning and contemplate before you make a move. I think that is really smart. And if you were not an investor and an angel investor, what would you be?
Oh, when I was little, I wanted to present the news. I actually wanted to work for Bloomberg. So, maybe I'd be a news reporter.
Oh, wow. But you're a speaker as well, and you're a contributor to Financial Times. So, more or less.
I have a column. I write a column for the FT, so yes, I do feel very lucky. But maybe work on television. I think that might be what I do.
Okay, well,
it might still happen.
yeah, for sure. Well, watch out for your maybe like women in tech show, or that would be really great. And well, thank you so much. I think those were amazing. You have a great story, and I think those were really amazing recommendations, and your passion is very contagious. And I guess, like, to wrap up this interview, maybe one thing we ask all our guests is, what would you like to change in our world? If you could change just one little thing, what would it be? Or maybe it's a big thing.
Every woman gets a 50% pay rise. That would be my thing, because I'm sure we're all underpaid.
I think it's right. The current statistics is like 20. That's what I read.
Oh, yeah. So let's do 50.
Let's think big. But that's right. When if I've been asked also sometimes, like, hey, like I'm changing jobs, like this is the salary range I'm being offered. What do you think? Could you coach me how to negotiate? And I also think, okay, like, look at the current statistics. If the pay gap is 20%, well, think that you're being offered 20% less. So ask at least 20% more. And
absolutely.
And everyone goes like, really? Like, I mean, why not? If it's a no, you can always renegotiate. And
I agree.
Okay, well, it was super great having you here, and we will definitely wait for your TV show. I think
brilliant. Oh, well, thank you so much for having me.
A YouTube format.